Hello. All right, let's the last part of Lost Caverns of Ixalan. If you don't mind, I'm having a little yogurt. So, with the beginning of this first impressions, we looked at things like, or we looked at all the colors, and I believe green is the most cave heavy color in terms of cave mechanics, but still, it didn't feel like there were a ton of cave mechanics. But we'll finally get to see why, where these caves are going to come from, how it's going to work. I'll be honest, before I start, I'm a little skeptical. I'm a little skeptical that caves are going to be good. I mean, synergy with your lands is automatically good because there's usually kind of dead cards in limited, other than casting your spells. But later in the game, they're dead. Don't have a ton of value beyond that, of course. But at the same time, I'm a little. We didn't see a ton of cards with cave synergy, and not many cards like turned into caves. I want to say there's only like 4 or 5 in just regular cards. So I think that the caves really need to do a lot. All right, let's see what we got. Captivating Cave, common. Add a colorless. Add 1 mana fixing. Tap 4, sacrifice Captivating Cave. Put 2+1/+1 counters on target creature. Activate only as a sorcery. Okay, this is a fun. So it's we had the similar one in Wilds of Eldraine. I forget the name of it, that also fixed like that. This is just strictly better, right? I don't remember that having any other ability other than just fixing. So it being a cave. Remember that a lot of the cave synergy also works if your caves are in the graveyard, so that's good. I think this seems pretty solid, right? Helps you fix. I mean, you don't want a ton of them because the fixing isn't very efficient, but I think you can play at least 2 in your deck, and that won't be too much. 1 is obviously great, and I think 2 is okay. Cavern of Souls. As Cavern of Souls enters the battlefield, choose a creature type, add a colorless. Add 1 mana of any color, spend this mana only to cast a creature spell of the chosen type, and that spell can't be countered. Okay, I think this is a reprint. Mythic, so you're not going to see it much. Yeah, it's not good enough to take highly as a mythic. Oh yeah, Captivating Cave, I give it a C+. Better if you have cave synergy. Cavern of Souls. This is really just like a C-. I mean, it's nice to have. But the thing is, rarely, I mean, it's fine. Rarely do you have a lot of the same creatures in limited. There's the dinosaur deck, obviously, in green and red. So I think it's a little better in that deck. But for the others, it's just okay. Cavernous Maw. Add 1 colorless. Tap 2. Cavernous Maw becomes a 3/3 elemental creature until end of turn. It is a cave. It's still a cave land. Activate only if the number of other caves you control. If the number of other caves you control plus the number of cave cards in your graveyard is 3 or greater. Okay, so you need some caves to make this work. This is interesting. I think getting Captivating Cave is going to be much harder because everyone's going to, probably it's going to be taken early, be high priority, because you don't necessarily know how much cave synergy you're going to have, and it fixes. 3 caves, I don't know how easy that is to do. And this isn't producing any colored mana. If you got a lot of cave synergy, you play it, but I don't think you play more than 1. You don't want too many lands in your deck that just produce colorless. C-. It goes up the more caves you have, obviously. Echoing Deeps. You may have Echoing Deeps enter the battlefield tapped as a copy of any land card in a graveyard, except it's a cave in addition to its other types. Okay. Works really well with Descend. You'll have a lot of lands in your graveyard, any discard you have. The thing is, green and red have most of the cave synergy, and they don't have ways to ditch things in their graveyard easily. Definitely don't have ways to ditch lands in their graveyard easily. That's blue and black. So a little awkward. Yeah, this is just entirely dependent on the way your deck is built. Some green red cave decks will want it. Some blue black decks will want it, especially if they have some cave synergy. I mean, you need to have cave synergy to justify this, I guess. It's just okay. A rare, definitely a lot of better commons and uncommons you'll take. You'll probably be able to pick this up a little later in the draft. Forest, what does that do? Reading the card explains the card, right? JK. Forgotten Monument. Add 1 colorless. Other caves you control have pay 1 life, add 1 mana of any color. That's interesting. Only other caves, though. This cave mechanic is at least starting to look interesting. So you want like 1 or 2 of these if you have a lot of cave. You want like probably 2 of these if you have a lot of caves in a cave deck. Man, it's going to be awkward whenever you don't have the color you need. And you get like these cavernous maws, or you can't activate your echoing deeps, or you pick the wrong creature with Cavern of Souls. Seems like it could be a little inconsistent, so you probably need Forgotten Monument to keep consistency in any cave deck you have. All right, Hidden Cataract. So is each color going to have a cave? Hidden Cave enters battlefield tapped. It's common. Add a blue. I like to see this. That means it's, if coming to play tapped lands are just completely unplayable, then it doesn't matter. But if they're playable, that means the format slows down. Pay 1 blue, 4 other, sacrifice Hidden Cataract, discover 4, activate only as a sorcery. I think that's good. I mean, having lands in limited that do something is really important. And I do think this looks like it's going to be a slower format, slower limiter format. So coming into play tapped, even if it's in your first couple turns, is not going to be as devastating. Hidden Courtyard, the white one. Sacrifice Hidden Courtyard, discover 4. Oh, so, okay. White, black, green. So all of them are just discover 4. Interesting. Not very creative. I do love the art. I think the hidden lands as a whole, I think they're fine. You don't want to take them too early. They're like a middle of the pack pick. You feel really good picking this whenever there are no good cards in your color. Feels very efficient to make your lands better. Pit of Offerings. Pit of Offerings enters battlefield tapped. When Pit of Offerings enters battlefield, exile up to 3 target cards from graveyards. It is a cave. Add 1 mana of any of the exiled card colors. I don't think this is very good. Yeah, I mean, you have to wait until you have something in your graveyard for this not to just be a colorless. That other cave does help this produce colorful mana, and if it comes down late, you probably don't need it. I mean, maybe in a 5-color deck. I'm not saying that that's viable. I still need to think about that. But if it were viable in a 5-color deck, this is kind of okay, I guess. Much better in the Descend decks, so blue-black, because if cards are getting into your graveyard naturally, creatures dying, casting spells, then you don't need the color that Pit of Offerings is offering you. See what I did there? No pun intended. You don't need the offering that the pit is giving you if your cards are getting into the graveyard naturally. Now, if you're descending or you're surveilling, getting cards into your graveyard, you could potentially fix when a color that you don't have the mana, you don't have the lands for yet, falls into your graveyard. But then, that kind of doesn't synergize well with your descend strategy. You don't want to be exiling cards from your graveyard. Okay, from graveyards. I misread that a little bit. So you can remove from your opponent's graveyard. Okay, this makes it a little bit better. Because now it's a counter to descend. So cave deck, I think cave deck gets a B. I mean, this is such a good best of 3 format. There's so many good sideboard cards. You would definitely want this in your sideboard, but yeah, there is quite a bit of graveyard synergy. I mean, if you main deck this in a best of 1, and then you go up against green red dinosaurs or red white mid range, you're a little sad because it's kind of a waste. But it's okay. Not great. It's going to be polarizing. Need to figure out how the format's going to go. Hard for me to say. I think it's C minus in a non-cave deck, C plus in a cave deck maybe. Promising Vein, cave, add 1 colorless, pay 1, sacrifice Promising Vein, search for your library for a basic land card, put it on the battlefield tapped, then shuffle. Okay, not as good as Evolving Wilds or whatever that card is. You have to pay 1 to sacrifice it, but it is a cave. It still does work in your graveyard, counting towards cave synergies. So, I mean, it's a good fixer. Pretty good common. I think it's like out of 5 in the 2.5 to 3 range. Much better in a cave deck, of course. Reckless Anchorage enters battlefield tapped at a white or a blue. Pay 1, white, blue, until end of turn. Restless Anchorage becomes a 2/3 white and blue bird creature with flying. It's still land. Whenever it attacks, create a map token. We got block again, baby. So some connection with Wilds of Eldraine because they had the enemy colored versions of these lands. So now we're going to get the allied color version. Those lands in Wild of Eldraine, I think were a little overrated. They're certainly good. I mean, you like land. I mean, these are not bad lands by any means for limited. I'm not saying that. The reason I say it's overrated is I must have done. I mean, I probably did at least 100 drafts of Wilds of Eldraine, and I can say probably 5% of them, maybe one of these lands attacked. Like maybe 5%, like 5 out of every 100 games. So the attacking really doesn't happen as much as you would think. But that was Wilds of Eldraine, where it was super fast. In a slower format, maybe these are going to play a bigger role. And it does seem like this is a slower format. Create a map token is good. Flying means it can't be blocked easily. I think obviously good. I mean, it's a great fixer. This is in the B plus category. Obviously, you have to be in the colors. What's the green one do? The green one makes a 3/3 green-white llama creature. Love it. Until end of turn, it's still lamb. Whenever it attacks, other creatures you control get +1/+1 end of turn. This one's weaker. 3/3 is going to die very easy. 4 is a lot to activate it. Giving your creatures +1/+1 is cool, but not that interesting. And I think that creating a map token synergizes really well with what blue-white is trying to do, make a lot of artifacts. I think Restless Anchorage is a better card than Restless Parry. Restless Reef enters battlefield tapped, blue-black. Until in turn, Restless Reef becomes a 4/4 blue and black shark creature. Sharknado confirmed. With Death Touch. Death Touch is nice, I guess. Still am. Target player mills 4 cards. Interesting. I don't think there were any other. I don't remember one other spell that lets you mill your opponent. So this is definitely going to be milling yourself. It's all right. I mean, if you really need to hit the send, this is going to help. Fun, good card. I mean, all these are good. You know, it's hard to say anything bad about dual lands in limited, and hard to say anything bad about lands that become creatures in limited. So both are just knocking it out of the park, no matter what it does, really. The red-green one becomes a 3/4 red and green dinosaur creature until end of turn. It's still a land. Another target attacking creature gets +2/+0 until end of turn. Untap that creature. The untapping probably is the coolest part of this. +2/+0 seems very underwhelming compared to the +1/+1, but I doubt dinosaurs need that much help getting big either. This one's just okay. I think the blue-white one's still the best one. Blue-black one's second best. Restless Vents, the black-red one. Until end of turn, Restless Vents becomes a 2/3 black and red insect creature with menace. It's still land. When it attacks you, discard a card. If you do, draw a card. Very good. You at least get to cycle once. The menace makes it harder to block. It has the cheapest, like blue-white. Only costs 3 to activate it. Yeah, the red-black one and the blue-white one are the best for sure. Sunken Citadel enters battlefield tapped. As it enters, choose a color, add 1 mana of the chosen color, add 2 mana of the chosen color. Spend this money only to activate abilities of land sources. That's interesting. This is great. Absolutely great. Can make any color, comes into play tapped. B. Last, Volatile Fault. Sacrifice Volatile Fault, destroy target non-basic land an opponent controls. That player may search their library for a basic land card and put it onto battlefield tapped. Shuffle, you create a treasure token. Interesting. Killing other caves. I mean, I guess this is nice to kill the land creatures, but those are rare. You're not going to expect to see them all the time. And I mean, creating a treasure token is cool, but killing the caves doesn't really do much for them because their caves still synergize in the graveyard. I mean, if they miss a land drop, then and you're fine on lands, then it's really devastating. I give it a treasure token is cool. I give it a B, maybe a B minus. I think it'll be okay. Probably will be overvalued, I think, because you're not going to see these creature lands very often, and it's not that hard to kill them in other ways anyways, with other removal. It is nice that some of your removal comes from a land, though. So yeah, B minus, maybe a B. All right, that's the lands. My live counter's a little slow. I don't see anyone in here, but hey, we finished Ixalan. In conclusion, I think it looks really cool. I'm excited to draft it. I think color strength probably goes something like black, green, white, red, blue. Black, green, white, red, blue, something like that. Not necessarily, though, those combinations of colors. I do think that the blue-white deck might be sneakily good. I think that the black-white and the green-white deck is probably going to be the strongest. But I think it'll probably be balanced. They do a pretty good job with balance these days, I think, in limited formats. So hope you had fun. Hope you enjoyed it. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good jazz. Thank you so much, and good luck in your drafts.